So anyways, what else did I want to talk about? What do I have here? Being forced fed. Did you guys see this story? I didn't really see the story. What I did was I just looked up fucking Google News. It says prisoners on hunger strike in Israel may be forced fed under new law. Are they going to do it like they do to the ducks, like stick a funnel in them? That foie gras? I fucking hate that shit, man. I fucking... Why do we have to do that? How do you force feed a duck, man? How do you... First of all, how do you not like a duck? I'm not going to lie to you. Duck is delicious. When I was overseas, I had this breast of duck that was fucking outstanding. All right? But as far as I know, the thing wasn't force-fed. You know what I mean? What you want to do with animals is you let them live a life. And then in the end, you take them out like Stacks in fucking Goodfellas. Right? You have the duck put on a pot of coffee. You know what I mean? He's walking around in his yellow skibbies, and you're coming up right behind him with the silencer. Bing, bang, done. Nothing. Sit there sticking a funnel in his fucking mouth. All right, Jerusalem. Jerusalem. This is where Jesus washed his feet. Jerusalem. Stick some paper in a wall. Maybe something invisible will care and make your dreams come true. But it's your wall. Shoot anyone else. This is if you had the Love Boat in the Middle East. Digging oil, drilling oil. Funneling the money through the mosque to the terrorists. Soon they'll be blowing up a pizza parlor. All right. Israel legislator voted Thursday to allow the force feeding of hunger-striking prisoners in extreme cases. By the way, shout out to anybody in one of those countries, who's listening to this fucking thing, who plays drums. How are you? How are you, me, over there? How's it going? Anyways, a move that appeared to be aiming at preventing Palestinian inmates from using fasts to win their release, particularly from indefinite incarceration. Well, right there, you got to say, what are they in jail for? And then you also got to be like, well, if they want to starve themselves to death, doesn't that save you money? Or they become a martyr. They're already in jail. They're already a martyr. So why don't you just let them fucking not eat? Huh? It usually helps when you fucking read up on these things. This is me if I ever did the national news. I'd wear a suit, though. I would dress up. Good evening, nightly news. A professional is not in tonight. I'm Bill Burr. Rights groups condemn the move, and the Israeli Medical Association called it torture and vowed, well, wait a minute. It's torture to force feed somebody. How do you force feed somebody? You know what you do is you make like a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but there's no peanut butter because you don't want it to be hard to go down. You wet the bread like that Asian dude does when he wins the hot dog contest against all those fucking fat fucks over there on Coney Island, right? You wet down, it's a jelly sandwich. You ball it up, and you just walk towards it. You have it behind your back, And then, you go, hey, look at that. When he's not looking, you clasp your hand on the nape of his neck, and then you just fucking shove it in. Eat it. Eat it! Right? Talk about fucking stamina. You know what I mean? If somebody's trying to force feed me, if I was starving myself, they came up with a sandwich, 4 hours in, I'd just be like, hey, there's no reason to do that. I'll eat it. I wish you didn't dunk it under the water, but at this point it's been 4 hours. I don't give a fuck. I'll eat it. All right. Anyways, in recent years, hundreds of Palestinians have conducted collective individual hunger strikes. Let's get to force feeding. How the fuck does that work? He said force feeding I thought they just stuck like an IV in you. Wait a second. Where the fuck is that's the part. It's absolutely clear that this is torture. All right, wait a minute. So now what do you think I'm going to Google, huh? Not going to Google the fucking weather. Force feeding. How the fuck did I get on this subject? Methods. Open your mouth, or we'll shove it up your digestive tract. Force feeding. Guantanamo force feeding. Here's what really happens when you force feed someone? This is somebody that, who the fuck knows? Okay, there seems to be a wire here. The Medical Association and the Red Cross both condemn force feeding, widespread condemnation. Nobody likes it. All right. So they stick you in a fucking chair that looks like one of the prototypes for those Weider gym things. Just imagine if you work in your upper chest. So you got you at a 45-degree angle. And then they got these two, cushion things so you can't turn your head. Like the neck pillow? Just imagine if it was for the side of your face. They got these two giant blocks on either side. Then they strap you in. And they wheel you in like fucking Hannibal Lecter. Placement, they put a feeding tube. They shove it up your nose? No matter the circumstance, placing the feeding tube is tricky, especially when the subject is thrashing around saying, stop doing that. It's also vital. Doctors who perform this procedure, even on willing patients, have noted that the tube can go through the nose, out of the mouth, at which points it has to be pulled out and replaced. The tube can also can go down the windpipe instead of the esophagus, and forcing food into someone's lung can cause permanent pneumonia, a collapsed lung, or death. Well, aren't they coughing at that point? All right, so that's how they do it, a feeding tube. Starvation and refeeding. Force feeding isn't something that is done on one missed meal. A person who is force-fed has often been starving themselves for days. There are complications that come with feeding someone who has stopped eating entirely, one of which is called refeeding syndrome. When a person has starved themselves for days, their body metabolism has shifting it back with a sudden large thing, releases insulin. All right, this is basically awful. Isn't this fucking terrible how we can't get along to this fucking point that you actually have to put somebody in a jail and then they stop eating and then you got to force feed them? And not because you give a fuck whether they live or not. This is just depressing. We're fucking animals, man. You know what I mean? We really are. At the end of the fucking day, half the shit we do. You know what I mean? Just watch the Discovery Channel one time when they show monkeys and the horrible shit that they do to each other. Now that we're finally past the fact that we realize a fucking chimpanzee can rip your face off and that they also eat meat and they eat other monkeys and they enjoy slowly killing them very sadistically. Like the fucking parallels to human beings. It's unbelievable. We're fucking animals. Fucking animals. So this is why I don't watch the news. That's why I don't talk. How fucking disgusting was that? All right, that's 28 minutes, everybody. Sorry for the force feeding thing. You did get to listen to me sing the Love Boat theme about the Middle East.